I lay me down, let's get this off my chest first. Excerpt of my life, I call it my next verse. I'm stressed, keep it in perspective, I'm an expert about this Northwest way of life, hey, it could end worse.
Welcome in, everyone. This is episode number 16 of UpLeft State of Mind, the podcast where it's okay to not be okay. This is the show that unpacks the pressure, the pain, and the process, from mental health struggles to finding your identity, the healing process, and even ways that we can grow as individuals. There's no filters, there's no fluff. This is episode. My fault. My chat screen had volume on. That's the beauty of doing a live show. Just raw conversations with people who are learning how to hold everything. I'm your host, Rizzle, and whether you're tuned in from somewhere inside the beautiful Pacific Northwest or anywhere else, this is your safe space. A place to breathe and a place to remember it's okay to not be okay. Before we get into it, a little housekeeping. Today's episode is brought to you by Seamless Electrical Solutions. Whether it's wiring, repairs, or full electrical work, Seamless has you covered with quality done right. As a master electrician in Massachusetts, they're committed to keeping your home and business running strong. We're honored to partner with a company that values community and believes in supporting open conversations about mental health. Learn more at seamlesselectricalsolutions.com. All right, let's get into it. So, right off the bat, quick self-check. I'm all right. I've been better, but I've been worse too. I've had a rough week or so, but the wounds are licked and the wounds are healed, and we're moving on. Technical difficulties, a couple shows that could have went better, podcast stuff, stuff like that. Whatever. So that's my self check. Sometimes it's not as beautiful as it is other times, but I still have a positive mindset no matter what, and things get better. And so, like, I don't expect every day to be good. I don't expect every day to be perfect. Things don't always go your way. I just like having a good podcast, and we had some technical difficulties on the last show, and it really bummed me out for a couple days, so I'm good. I'm glad to, it was a great conversation and everything, but I'm glad to have a fresh start with the next episode. So without further ado, let's bring on our guest for today. 2010, maybe, something like that. 2009, 2010, met this guy. Musician, community activist, just all around, good guy. Always been a good friend to me. Let's bring him on. Greg Simpson, aka Theory. How are you doing, man? Yes, sir. It's good to have you on, man. So right off the bat, before we get into it, that do you have like a mute button on your mic? Is that coming from like out that noise? I don't hear it right now, but that shit that we were hearing before. Do you have like a mute button you can hit when that thing starts to happen?
Yeah, it's done. I turned it off.
Okay. Perfect. So why don't you tell everyone just a little bit about yourself? Introduce yourself.
All right. Well, I'm Greg Simpson, born and raised in Salem, Oregon. Had a tough background growing up, but somehow that turned into a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Struggle builds strength, and that's what I let it do. I just really enjoy being around positive people, bringing positive energy to anywhere that I'm at, and just focusing on the positive in life. Sometimes it gets tough, but again, you got to let the struggle make you strong.
Yes, sir. Yep. Yeah, that's the quote on my Facebook page is strength and growth is birthed through continuous struggle. That's a Mozzie quote, but yeah, I believe in that wholeheartedly. Yeah. So you are a musician. Do you still work on music currently? Making new stuff?
Yeah. I took a break for just a little bit. I had some personal things going on. But now, I'm working on an album called Tired. I know a lot of us are tired. So it just
Nice.
kind of relates to that feeling, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, I love music, man. It'll be
Yeah.
hard to quit.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. Yeah, you always got to take breaks. I take breaks every now and then, but it always pulls me back. So do you use music as an outlet? Um, well, first of all, before we get into that, what's your history with mental health? Some people are like, I don't know, nothing, I'm cool, whatever. But most people, it's a little more in depth than that. What have you experienced with mental health in your life?
Well, like I said, I've definitely experienced some mental health issues for sure. Life is tough, and I don't ignore the tough parts. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, so I deal with a lot of anger issues, um, and it's taken me a long time to really work on myself to get that to a point where it doesn't present problems in my life. It's something that I deal with personally, and that's where music comes in, where I'm able to actually put my emotions on a beat, and it takes away from a lot of negative reactions that I might have in life. You know?
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of like journaling or anything like that. Like people use different ways to just get stuff out, and it kind of materializes that negative energy on the page or on the track or whatever you're doing, instead of making you put it out into the world in some other way. It's You got any other outlets? I know some people like draw, or some people go and they hoop or whatever.
this might sound different, but I like to go shopping, man.
Yeah.
Whether it's
Okay.
grocery shopping, clothes shopping, just being able to, I feel like I keep my mind busy by looking for stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
When I go grocery shopping, I freestyle, man. I just
Yeah.
walk to the store and I see something I like, and I'm like, ooh, there it is, right there. So it's awkward, but it works, man. It works for
Yeah.
me.
What's your favorite thing to shop for?
Food, man, I hate,
Yeah.
but food. I'm greedy, man. Greedy. I love food, man. But
Yeah.
I've been trying to stay healthy, so I'm switching it up. Looking for salads, sandwiches, and
Uh-huh.
soups and rice and chicken and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
fish.
Yeah. Yeah. I started eating good a couple years ago. Well, better, watching what I ate. I had a bit of a health scare, and so I was like, hey, I got to get my shit together a little bit, and so I started eating better and lost some weight. I started feeling better about myself, and it's just like a whole thing, it's yeah, it's good. I like to get like a bunch of frozen chicken, cook all that shit at once, and then put it in the fridge and just have that shit for like salads and stuff. And man, it's good stuff.
Be prepared.
Uh, yeah. Um. So, what has what kind of issues has that anger problem presented you?
Well, at first, I'll start with what I feel like brought the anger issues. I mean,
Okay.
I feel like we all have, issues with our emotions. Sometimes nobody's perfect, and we all got to figure out ways to deal with our emotions. Anger
Hmm.
being one of mine, which is, growing up, I was taught you got to be tough. You know what I mean? So it's like whenever I had an emotion, it turned into anger. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? There was a lot of angry people around me when I was growing up. So anger is where I'm comfortable at. So anytime I get sad, turn it into anger. Anytime I'm confused, turn it into anger. Pretty much any other emotion, turn it into anger.
Hmm.
But recently, I feel like it was pushed to the forefront due to my seizures, which is also part of my mental health struggles and stuff like that. The seizures are tough, man. I have the grandma seizures, so it was like the worst ones. Um, and I just feel like it's made me angry because there's nobody for me to be mad at. So this anger just kind of sits inside, and it's like, what do I do with this anger? And I'm just so angry, and it's almost like I look for stuff to be angry at that I can, get that out of
Hmm.
me. Whether it's people, that's pretty much the main thing. I regret a lot of that. Because it's possible I ruined some relationships with some people. Um, but I really feel like, man, it's so tough, man. It's so tough. But I just want to say for a second to anybody out there experiencing anger, just allow yourself to feel other emotions. Times you might want to cry, go ahead and cry. If you feel like I gotta be tough, I gotta this, I gotta that, it's safer for your relationships, for you physically, mentally, for you to just allow yourself to feel the other emotions. You know.
Oh, and crying is good for you too. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and it makes you like it really like helps your body like just kind of chill out, like process what's going on. And also, if you fight that urge, to because like I'll have that urge sometimes where I'm like I just want to like freak out, and but like I'm like all right, and I if you actually like fight that urge, it kind of rewires like your brain, and it makes it easier for you to resist that like going forward. And so yeah, it's great to that's good advice to try to feel out the other emotions, because yeah, there's a lot more emotion other than just anger for sure. um so that has to be tough. When did you start dealing with those seizures?
In 2020,
Yeah.
I was doing the. And I feel like I can't blame it on one single thing. I feel like it's a combination of things. Whether it be diet, um, emotions, whatever it may be. But in 2020, I was doing the. I did the march.
Hmm.
Uh, the Salem for George Floyd, and it brought almost 4,000 people. You know what I mean? And I was not expecting that. I was happy for it though. And with that came a lot. You know,
that
um,
was such a that was such a beautiful thing. That was, man.
it
Yeah.
was it was a great experience, man. Because I come from a tough background, and so for to have that many people, and everybody was like, mayor, and I was like, whoa, what, mayor,
Yeah.
what, so that but all of the things that started to come after that were
Hmm.
things that were pushing me towards being mayor. A lot of
Hmm.
politicians getting involved in my life, just people from everywhere, just encouraging me to be mayor. So the pressure that came with that, as well as me working graveyard shifts. So I was working graveyard shifts, and I would not go to sleep, and then I still wouldn't go to sleep the next day just to do all the things that I felt like needed to be done in order for me to become mayor.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and I wasn't eating right. Um, I was eating a lot of sugar. That's where the diet comes in, and I just feel like it was just a combination of the stress. But yeah, in 2020 is when I had my first seizure. Um, Scared the hell out of me, and ever since then, I've been trying to pinpoint what it was exactly that not only started it, but what keeps them going. So that way I can try
Hmm.
to find a way to stop them. But yeah,
Yeah. Have you learned kind of what like triggers them or anything? Or is it still just kind of like comes at random?
so, and this is another thing that kind of touches on the mental health part is drinking and smoking
Yeah.
are two of the biggest things. Of course, it's been a process even to get there. Of course, those are the last two things I wanted to find out. But
Hmm.
it has a lot to do with diet is a really big deal.
Hmm.
Salt, a lot of salt can trigger a seizure. A lot of sugar can trigger a seizure, um, and alcohol. I think was the biggest trigger because every single time I drank, and I think I ignored it for a while just because I enjoyed drinking so much.
Yep.
Like I truly ignored it. Like in my mind, I did not think of alcohol at all. But every single time that I drank, I had a seizure. Excuse me. And so once I cut that out, which 6 months no drinking, um, they started to not become as frequent. But with the smoking, I quit smoking about 2 months ago, and I haven't had one since. So I almost want to say smoking, but also, the other things included as far as changing my diet and things like that.
Uh-huh.
So, I think that's it's really just a combination of things.
Yeah. Man, I can relate to that so much because I in 2012 I got diagnosed with some a Meniere's disease, like an ear thing, vertigo and shit. And
Mhm.
so I dealt with that for about 12 years, and then found out I was misdiagnosed. And then it was like another like migraine thing with my ears. But I have the same thing. The triggers are like salt, stress is a real big one. My sleep schedule, like I have to get good sleep. If I'm tired, I get super dizzy and like my face gets heavy. Coffee, I had to give up caffeine. I had to give up alcohol. I can't drink a beer after work anymore. Like it's just so many things that, yeah. So, but it messes with you. It messes with you mentally so much. Like, I mean, for me personally, like it was just so stressful to not know what the fuck was going on, you know? Like I had no idea. I thought I had a tumor or I was going to die. I had cancer or something. I started like thinking I needed to spend more time with my kids. Like, yeah, I mean, everybody should spend more time with their kids, but you know, like, oh dude, I like, and it really like was a burden. And I'm like, I need to figure out what's going on. And it took so long, but, um,
It's scary.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know, like, with the grandma seizures, you wake up and, well, me personally, I wake up and there's blood everywhere because I bite my tongue wide open.
mm,
Um, and, throwing up everywhere. And it's just really bad because when you wake up from a seizure like that, your mind is not all there. It's like
yeah,
all over the place. So you end up throwing up, not even caring where you throw up at. You're just like, let me, I got this feeling, let me just get rid of it. And then for like a week or two after that, I mean, I'm telling you, it's a really weird experience. I pray for anybody out there that's dealing with that as well. Your mind is just not there. You feel like I don't even want to get into that because it's just so crazy. Like
yeah,
you start to lose yourself. That's a good way to
yeah,
put it. Like I lost myself for like a week every time I had a seizure. And it's scary. And then you also think about, am I going to wake up? What if I have a seizure and I just don't wake up? You know, but then it's like, how would I even know? You know, so that's also part of the mental thing. It's just like, when I was a kid, I asked God, like, hey, I was scared to go out violent way, painful death. You know what I mean? So I had asked him a long time ago, like, man, when it's my time to go, let me go in my sleep. And it's
yeah,
weird because my seizures are nocturnal seizures. Like, I don't just have, like, if I'm awake, I'm good. I'm not going to have a seizure. It's when I go to bed, and I don't know if I had a seizure until I wake up and I sleep alone. So, and that's the other tough part. It's going through that alone, waking up and really confused. And then you look around, you're like, oh, snap, blood. But it's happened so much where I already know what's going on. I wake up and I'm like, blood, oh, shit, another seizure,
yeah.
you know. So it's scary. It's scary.
So do you have like do you have to like watch what you keep like around your bed and stuff and like
Yeah. You want to make sure
yeah.
that you don't have like too many pillows. So that way, if you end up like rolling over or something like that, you don't suffocate. Uh, Try not to stay close to the edge of your bed. You can fall off. Oh, another big thing for the seizures is heat. That's something that I've actually realized is I don't even know why, but so my boss gave me this during the wintertime. She gave me this heater blanket, and the heater
Uh-huh.
blanket itself is like a big, thick blanket. And I didn't plug it in or anything like that, but it just made me like sweat at night sometimes. And when I switched it up and put an AC in my room when it became hot, I noticed that they stopped as well. And I actually think that that's one of the main things for real. Is overheating in my sleep, and that triggering seizures.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man. That's it's so stressful to I mean, I don't mine's nothing like seizures or anything like that, but like sometimes I can't like it's hard to get through a day of work because I'm so just spinning. And I found that like I had to quit eating bacon for a
Oh,
while because like cured meat would affect it, you know, and it's like some of the real pleasures in life, man, you know. But uh so I kind of like to have every guest on go through a rock bottom moment, and it doesn't have to be like anything crazy. It doesn't like whatever you're comfortable with, and it's not to relive the moment or stir anything up for you personally. It's just to kind of set the stage so that hopefully we can provide some tools to some people that are watching, or listening. So
um, I'm gonna go ahead. This one's tough because it's recent. And this is a public platform, but I'm gonna go ahead and speak on it, man. I'm dealing with a lot of family issues, man. relationships within my family are starting to have some trouble, and it scares me because me and my core family have been so close for so long, and when it comes time for that, um, for those issues to arrive, it's hard to deal with, because you just want it to be how it's always been. And that's the thing about life, man, is nothing lasts forever, you know, and it's put me in a, we speak about depression and stuff like that, and it's hard for me to identify when I'm feeling depressed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just me throughout my whole life, making everything about anger. Everything turns into anger. That it gets hard to identify different emotions sometimes. And I feel like recently I've been pretty depressed, tired, just wanting to sleep all the time. Just to not even have to feel or even waking up in the morning and being like, man, was that all a dream? Please tell me that was all a dream. And it's not. I have to wake
Yeah.
up and recollect everything and say, dang, man, this is really happening right now. And it sucks, man. It sucks because again, me and my core family, we all, grew up so close. I'm talking close, close. And for this kind of breakup to happen is just it's hurtful, man. I'm not gonna lie, it's hurtful. But one thing that I do tell myself is to, I look around at other people's lives and I see, not everybody even has their family like that. There's a lot of people who feel like they're alone in this world and they still find a way, whether that's through friends, whatever it may be, they find a way. And so what I tell myself is, I'm blessed to have had that experience for the majority, what might be the majority of my life,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And so it's again, it's tough, um, and it's so hard to imagine even mending certain relationships because of how far things have gone.
Yeah.
And imagining not having that relationship again is scary. It's tough. It hurts, and I'm trying to prevent that from turning into anger. So if me being a little bit more aware of my emotions, which I also feel like not smoking weed has helped with that a lot. I feel like weed
Mm-hmm.
numbs you to a lot of your emotions, and so now when I quit, I was hit with like a whole bunch of different emotions, and I was like, "Well, what is this? What?" And it became
Yeah.
to not start smoking again, because I wanted to just shut them down.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'd be a better man if I knew how to deal with my emotions, which I'm still struggling with. But
We all are.
yeah, yeah, man. So yeah, just kind of going through that phase of my life where the
Mm-hmm.
family issues continue. But again, just being happy that I was able to even have the relationships that I did for as long as I did, and becoming okay with where they're at right now, and just moving forward and keeping the peace of mind and not, pretty much just giving it to God, putting it in God's hands and trusting that God knows what He's doing. There's a lesson in everything for everybody. You know what I mean? So each part
Mm-hmm.
is played. There's a lesson in it, and I have to focus on the lesson that God is trying to teach me. You know?
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're definitely going at it with the right mindset, Um it's tough, like it's tough to deal with relationships breaking down, especially with family, because family's like that's what you lean on, or your circle, your support group. It can be, close friends or whatever, loved ones, but like that's a lot of the time when I ask people how they got through tough times, it's leaning on their support group, and so I'm glad that you have a positive outlook on it.
Thank you.
And if you ever need to reach out, man, I'm here for you. So
I appreciate that.
yeah, for sure. That's is that tough to, I mean, still it sounds like you still kind of deal with the anger stuff. What do you do now still to help deal with that, the anger stuff, suppress that?
A lot of it is self talk, trying to
Hmm.
look at myself from an outside point of view, and and when to take away the bias of myself of being like, nah, man, you got ego, whatever, pride, whatever it may be called, like, nah, man, you got the right to feel like this and da 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 da. To step outside of myself and not to compare to other people, um, because, but kind of too. My circle that I've grown up with, has been really violent, really angry and stuff like that. But I got to remember that the rest of the world isn't even like that. You know what I mean? Like the rest of the world deals with things, and of course, everybody's working on themselves. Nobody's
Hmm.
perfect. You know what I mean? But the people that I guess that I admire their lifestyles, they don't have to worry about the things that I worry about, and remember that hey, there's more than just this way of doing things. So to look at myself from an outside point of view and kind of do some self talk, where I'm like, hey man, stop making yourself feel like that's what you like. You have to be angry, or that
Hmm.
you have to confront something with anger and be upset. And to be honest with you, man, I've done what I consider myself to be a great job of doing that. I've ran into a lot of situations where I consider them tests, where I'll tell myself like, this is one of those tests, man. You can either go this way or you can go that way. Like you need to make your mind up
Hmm.
and decide what's best for you. If you want peace in your life, then you can't approach things with anger. It's okay to be angry, but you don't need to approach situations or certain, with people and approach it with anger. Don't do that. Just
Yeah,
just just step outside of that and try something different. If you want something different, you got to try something different.
that's huge, bro. Yeah, I always try to. Lately, I feel like the older I get, the more I kind of like understand a little bit about, I feel like I learn a little bit more. And that's one thing that I've done in the last couple years too, is just really try to look at it from an outside perspective as well. And I'm not great at it. I'm not. I let stuff get the best of me, and but you just gotta remember that it's not it's not always the end of the world. Uh,
Mm.
but
That's
so
okay.
yeah. Um,
Sorry.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So that's another thing, man. Is getting through that is like what's the saying? Like nothing stays bad forever. It's gonna be good again. You know what I mean? So when things feel bad, to kind of depend on that future of knowing that it's not always gonna be like this, man. There's gonna be another moment where I'm truly happy. You know what I mean? So just don't stay stuck in this. It's okay to go through those emotions, but just remember. And it was you saying it's not the end of the world. That's what reminded me
Mm.
of it. Things will be okay again. Just give yourself time. One of my favorite things that a good friend tells me is give yourself grace. You know what I
I
mean?
I
And
say that a lot on here
yeah,
as well. Yeah.
so just give yourself time and remember that good will come again. It'll be good again.
Yep. Yep. Uh, my oh, I don't think it was my last guest. She was maybe two, three, couple guests ago. I had Danielle on here,
Uh,
and she that's what she was. She advocated for, just for survival. She was saying life's a roller coaster, but it's gonna slow down at some point. And that, like, man, I really resonated with that, because it sucks, and it's fucking shit goes fast sometimes, and it gets tough, but it always slows down. It always gives you time to enjoy the good stuff, to get you through the next tough time, for sure.
I got nothing but respect for that woman right there. And
Yeah.
sometimes just watching people get through their issues gives you strength in yours. There's always somebody. I don't really like comparing struggles because pain is pain. Um, but watching somebody that you feel like is going through stuff worse than you, it makes you appreciate your situation just a little bit more. And she's
Hmm.
somebody and she is a soldier, man. She is. Shout out to Byro, man. She is a soldier.
Yep. uh where's my round of applause? We'll give her a little round of applause here, for sure. um yeah, and it kind of talking about what other people go through. You can't really compare somebody. I was talking to somebody about this other day. I don't remember who I was talking to, but talking about, everyone's worst day is everyone's worst day, whether it's, you fell and scraped your knee, or you crashed your car, or whatever. Like, that's still that was their worst experience. And so, like, yeah, you have to just realize that everybody goes through different stuff, and you can't, if you're freaking out about something and somebody else has something, completely different to and you're like, okay, maybe my thing's not as bad
Yeah.
as I think it is, So let's switch it up here a bit. I like to talk about we talk about the trauma a little bit. I like to switch it up and talk about the triumph. What is one of your proudest moments in life?
Life.
I know you've accomplished a lot in music. I know you've accomplished a lot just in, for the city of Salem. Like what is it? What's your top, you know?
Um, I would really have to say, quit smoking weed. That's a really big one for me because anybody that knows me knows that I love smoking weed. You know, but I really feel like, and every time I go somewhere, they're like, "Man, you still ain't smoked?" And I was like, "They're like surprised." But to me, I feel like that is one of my biggest triumphs in life, man. Is to be able to. It shows me my own strength. That's one
Mhm.
of the key things. It's like, wow, I really got that in me for real. You know, and I've just heard it from so many people. I can't believe you quit smoking. Did you really quit? Being questioned about it and stuff. But it
Yeah, yeah.
good to answer and be like, yeah, I really quit. You know, that's so not smoking weed anymore is a very big triumph in my life for sure.
That's how long has it been? Is that what you were saying? Like 2 months or something?
Yep, two
Yeah,
months, about two months in a week now.
yeah.
Feels good, man. Feels good.
Well, and aside from just the whatever you're gaining, like from not smoking, like just being able to say that you're sticking to something and having that willpower, like man, that feels so good. Um, it's been 10 years since I smoked a cigarette, and
Where the applause at, man? Where the
bro,
applause at?
where my
Give yourself
button
some applause for that.
at?
That's what's up.
uh,
Pray for that.
yeah, that's crazy. But I love cigarettes, bro. And it's just I love to have that willpower to be able to say like I love cigarettes. And if you want, like when I had my last vehicle, not this one, but my truck before that, I would let people smoke in there because I like the smell of it, but I haven't, slipped up once. And that self awareness to be able to like it feels good. So like I'm glad that you're doing good with that. How long has it been since you drank? You said that you're not drinking either. I seen you walking around the other night with the big ass tub of water. Get a bucket of water with the straw, bro.
I get made fun of so much for that, and I tell everybody, I'm like, man, this is vodka on ice, man. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? But it's been about 6 months. Six
Nice.
months.
Hell yeah. That's
Maybe,
that's awesome.
maybe a little bit longer.
Congratulations.
It gets to, thank you. It gets to a point where I even stop paying attention to how long it's been. I just accept it as a part of my reality. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But see, yeah, it's been about 7 months actually. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I missed my I had to look. Well, Facebook memories is the only reason I knew how long it had been. 10 years. And I
Mm,
was like, oh shit, I fucking missed my cigiversary here. Shit. So, yeah, it gets like that after a while. It's just part of you. And I just look back and I'm like, dude, I can't believe I used to smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
yeah, I used to smoke cigarettes too, and that's one of the things I don't remember where I quit. But I do remember that it was like I think I have like an addicting personality. Like when I do something, I just love doing it. You know what I mean? And same as you. I don't know if it was 2 packs a day, but I definitely smoked a lot. And
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, and being able to quit, the drinking and the smoking, as far as being recent and something like that, it creates a happiness within myself again. It reminds me of the strength that I have, you know. And if anybody out there that's dealing with that, man, trying to quit cigarettes, drinking, smoking weed, just understand that you got examples around you. You know what I mean? Rizzle, myself, that that is possible. It's something that
Yeah. You might not be able to do it the first time either. Like it
right,
takes,
right.
it takes, I mean, it took me a long time. It took me years of wanting to quit smoking cigarettes before I could, but um what's your this is kind of just a question for me personally. I'm just curious, but what's your proudest moment in music? What's the your proud what I mean, you've done a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And this is something that's hard to compare because being proud of my personal achievement, and then also being proud of just what I've seen in the scene.
Hmm.
Seeing people come, being able to bring people together and,
Yeah.
and see happiness in the building, the positivity in the building. To me, that is huge. But for me personally, I would have to say it was the Lazy Bone tour. Like
Hmm.
that was huge for me, and I think after that is when I stopped doing music because I was like, man, it didn't do what I thought it was going to do, and that kind of hurt. But because I was told certain things during that, and Lazy Bone is a great dude. I'm not taking nothing away from Brad. He's a cool dude. I got to know him really well during that tour. It was actually something that was outside of that happened to stop things from happening. But yeah, man, he came down to Salem, and rest in peace, my guy Marlon McCray, man. That was a very tough loss, man. And for him to give Marlon McCray a shout out during one of my performances
Uh-huh.
was huge because uh, Marlon McCray's family was in the building. A lot of his loved ones were there, and it meant a lot to them. Lazy Bone is somebody that a lot of people in hip hop look up to. Bone Thugs and Harmony, man. Shout out to them for all the music that they provided throughout their career. But yeah, to have Lazy Bone come up on stage and give a shout out to Marlon McCray, that moment right there, I cried inside. I was in front of a lot of people, so I didn't want to just.
Yeah.
I cried inside, man, and it was tough, for a lot of people in that moment to just have to, because it brings back a lot of emotions
Hmm.
surrounding his passing, and so I have to say that in my music career to have Lazy Bone give my guy Marlon McCray a shout out, rest in peace, man. That right there was my biggest moment in music.
That's huge. Um, just to be able to work with someone like that will be amazing, but to be able to have that kind of a story, um, and that the one that means so much, like that's really dope. Um, where how many wasn't that tour like out of state, or
Yeah,
did it have like a couple shows out of state,
yeah. We had.
like New Mexico or something like that?
Oh, that was actually something different. That was I was actually supposed to perform with. There was a show with Mozzie, Kevin Gates, and Nipsey.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Okay.
right before the show is when Nipsey passed away, and it turned into a tribute show.
Mm.
Rest in peace, Nipsey, man. But
Hmm.
yeah, for the Lazy Bone one, it was California, Oregon, and Washington.
Okay. Didn't Byro go with you on that one?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, she DJ the events, and that's a part of how we became so close to Jag as well. Shout out to my guy Jag, uh, and I built a lot of friendships off of that. When you spend that much time together, going through those type of experiences, you're city to city, staying in rooms, and just having that experience and that excitement together, being able to work
Hmm.
with such a big artist. Um, yeah, it's just dope memories all throughout the whole tour. Man.
So
It was,
Jag went on that too.
yeah, yep,
Okay. Okay. I didn't know that.
yep.
Um, that's dope. Hell yeah. Yeah. I'm a fan of him too. I've just recently started like seeing him at shows and stuff when I started popping back up, and yeah,
Great, great.
puts on a good show for sure. Um, man, so what was your favorite what's your favorite show that you've ever done?
Um, I would have to say, kind of that same one.
Yeah.
Not to get back to that, but just that same one because there was
Yeah.
so much love in the building. There were so many people in the building, and being able to, Salem is such a small city. Oregon is kind of spaced out between cities. Our biggest city is like Portland. You know what I mean? And even Portland compared to other cities, New York, LA, these other cities have so much more going on. And
Yeah.
but to bring so in Salem, when we get big artists like that, it's like a shock. We're like, oh my gosh, this person's coming over here. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? So to be able to bring hope is really what it is. Because
Yeah.
a lot of artists, it's just happy. Everybody's sitting up. You can see the smiles on their faces, and it's not even just when the artist is there. It's around that time. During that whole time, there's just like this citywide happiness of like, yo, this is really happening, and just to be able to bring that to my city, man, it means a lot because there's a lot of people out here that need hope, and
Mhm.
sometimes it's not that situation that you need to like with the lazy bone situation. I hoped that that grew to something bigger, but just because it didn't happen doesn't mean that I need to lose that hope. To me, that was an experience that taught me that bigger things can happen, you know, and it doesn't even have to be in the lane that you were hoping. Like music wasn't where that hope took me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Music is what started that hope, where it's like, hey man, once you have hope, no matter what it's for, hope itself will help you in a lot of different areas. And I feel like that hope is what helped me work on myself more. You know what I mean? Like not be so stuck in this rut where it's like, hey man, if that could happen, what else could happen? And it doesn't have to be anything huge to the outside world. It's huge to me. Being able to work on myself, become a better
Yeah.
person, because that hope opened up my eyes, and it just let me know that man, there's a better you out there. You know what I mean? Just like you think that there's a better career or a better this or that, there's also a better you sitting out there waiting for you. You know what I mean? And being able to work on myself, you know, it's that hope that gave me the hope that I can become a better person. And so far, it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah. I talked about that on a podcast a couple episodes ago about hope versus expectation,
Mm,
and how when you expect things is when you can invite disappointment in.
mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, if you always are just hopeful for a good outcome, you're not necessarily expecting it. And so like it was good. I learned a lot about that dealing with the charity show that I threw, because I expected more people to
Mm,
be there, more of my people to be there, given the circumstances of the show. And I should have just hoped for a good outcome but been happy regardless. And it really set me up for some disappointment that I didn't really need to be disappointed about, because the outcome of the show was still great and still positive. And so I was just like, man, I just set myself up. I had expectations that I didn't need to set. And so like I really love that you said that word hope, because that's super fucking huge. Like, yeah,
and
hope
also,
is a great thing.
I just want to say though, you know, from the people that weren't there, this is the flip side to that, right? So the people that weren't there, they didn't see that. All they saw was Ryan was trying to put something together for the community. So
Mhm.
regardless of if they were, and I'm speaking from my own personal point of view of that show, that the event that you put together was that it helps people recognize your character. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like that
Mhm.
is very important. Even though I've thrown 1,000 shows, and trust me, the disappointment has been there. The same feeling you're talking about, I have
Yeah.
felt it
Yeah.
too many times.
Yeah.
But it's also like when I go out into the community and people recognize me for doing it, they're like, "Hey, you're the one guy that put that together and did this." They weren't there, but because of the promotion and because of the hard work that I had put in, it does. It's still, and not that we do it for image, but it still lets people know that that's who you are. So
Right.
you have done a great job. You know, I just want to give you a shout out, man. Hit the applause button real quick, man, for doing that, man.
I
You did
appreciate it.
that,
I
man.
appreciate it.
So it's let people know who you are as a person. You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
and that's huge, because I plan on doing this. I plan on doing that give back every year. And so like, I mean, I had a reporter hit me up and we did an interview over the phone, and I got an article in the paper and shit. And so like that's all that is just building blocks for next time. Like regardless of the outcome this time, it was good. Like overall, I mean, I don't know if you saw that number on Facebook, but between business donations that I raised to help cover venue costs, cash donations, school supply donations, raffle ticket money, prizes, that like the value of prizes that we gave away for the raffle, it was over 3 grand.
Oh,
So like we made some shit happen regardless of how many people came. So like and I'm very hopeful that next year is going to be successful as well. So yeah, that hope is all you can do, for sure.
that's definitely a successful show, man. Event
Yeah.
in general. You know what I mean? You did great, man. Good job on that, for
I
real.
appreciate it. Um, so I like to ask everyone what they advocate for. I advocate for mental health. Um, what does Greg Simpson advocate for?
Hope,
Yeah.
hope. I feel like not having hope can lead to, um, you know, destruction of somebody's life. I hate using that word, but that's kind of how I view it. You know, just to keep it 100. Is hope, man. You know, I come from a community where there almost is no hope. We kind of just accept what our reality is as a forever type thing. You know, I grew up in the streets, man. You know, where we had to, um, you know, I'm just gonna keep it real. You know, I did a lot of bad things growing up, stealing, fighting. You know, all these robbing people, all this other type of stuff, and it just leaves us with no hope. Whether it be getting a job, we might, and it really comes from the background of um, broken homes. You know, you come from a broken home. You're not really taught how to go get a job. That's not even really your focus. And then when you go outside, you're surrounded. You know, depending on the neighborhood that you grow up in, you're surrounded by other kids who are going through the same thing. Broken homes, not taught how to get a job, not wanting to go to school, not encouraged to go to school. Um, not good role models around them, and if it's okay, I'd like to speak on, kind of go back a little bit further on that as well. Is that
Oh
okay?
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So, the black culture is kind of looked at as like a violent race. You know, every time I go online and I see, whether it be two black people fighting, and then comments that be like, "Oh, the usual suspects," and da 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 da, and it's just like, man, um, or the certain man that just passed away. There's a lot of conversations that are surrounding that. I think he was starting to become a political figure, Kirk or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a follower of him, so I wasn't, you know. Um, and death is a hard thing to go through. You know, maybe his family didn't. I'm not saying that he deserved it, but his family definitely didn't deserve to go through that pain. I wouldn't wish that pain on anybody. Uh, but a lot of comments that are left out there, I just feel like, dang, I wish I was able to speak in that moment because I can make it make sense. When someone's like talking about reparations, why should we pay black people to make them do better and stuff like that? It's because of the disadvantage. It's a generational disadvantage, man, and it goes all the way back to when black people were offered or told that we were going to give 40 acres and a mill so that way we could start up. And if somebody's not taking the time to look at that and look at the effects of not getting that, having to go through slavery, being kidnapped on a huge level, pretty much, you know, and it's tough for a lot of people to listen to, but it's also important for people to listen to so that way they can understand
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. Does it make what's going on okay? Not at all. But you have a little bit more of an understanding and knowing that this stems from, and people say, man, that was so long ago, man, everything is equal now. You have the same chances that we do. No, it's not the same because that's where a lot of mental health comes from too. Just knowing that that's happened to your people is tough, you know, and it just goes to from like a financial thing too. For generations, the black community, you know, were manipulated mentally, made to believe that we weren't anything. You know, the Willie Lynch letter is huge. You know, that's something that Willie Lynch wrote to turn black people against each other. Like, there's so many things that have happened to the black community to put us at a disadvantage that it's hard to even believe. That's why people don't like having the conversation. Um, but you know, the financial part is a really big one. And you know, I don't want to go too deep into it because it's a lot behind that. But just, you know, I encourage anybody to even go look up, and this is for the people who doubt the black community, you know, look down on the black community, to go do your research. You can even go look on Google right now and ask Google, how are black people still at a disadvantage in 2025? And it's going to give you a list of things of why black people are still at a disadvantage. It's not a secret. It's just a lot of people just don't want to pay attention to it. And so, bringing it back to hope, you know, it gets hard to have hope when you see what your people have come from, and then kind of still being put down. And media has a really big part of that. Um, our race is very what I want to say, athletic. because, coming from Africa, that being in our DNA and stuff like that, there was a lot of activity back then, and so that's just in us. But the way that our minds have been manipulated, and pushed towards anger, it has created us to be, a violent culture. I'm not going to take away from that, but I just want people to pay attention and look at where that comes from. And
Hmm.
my dream is to install hope in my people, because hope can change your actions, the way you think, the way you view things, and that's what it's done for me. And that's where that Lazy Bone show comes in, was giving me hope, and just having hope. It opens up your mind where you can just be like, man, not not everybody's going to have that hope. So while trying to give people hope, that's who you're dealing with. People who don't have hope, and that makes it
Hmm.
hard, because they try to take away from your hope. They try to convince you that no, this is where we're at. You're living in a dream. It's never going to happen. So I want to be an example, and that's where the mayor thing comes into play too. And they were mayor. It's because that gave a lot of my people hope, and they still to this day. But that was 5, 6 years ago, almost. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, for people to still be like, "Oh, look at Mayor Greg," my community, they still say that, and it's like that tells me that left some kind of hope. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? And so, knowing where my people come from, how hard it's been for my people, the struggle that we went through, and for me to just be an example of hope, makes that one of my key things to push, man. And my bad for dragging that out, man. I just kind
No,
of
no, nope.
just got out.
That's this is this that's what this place is for. This podcast is for exactly that. Whatever you need to speak on. So,
And one other thing though is the gang culture. And I feel like media has twisted and turned that into something that it's not supposed to be, man. Um, the gang culture in the black community started because when black kids would walk to school on their own, they would get jumped, by the white kids. They would get tortured by the police, killed by the police. Um, and it was tough for other members of the black community to see that, so they actually came together in a group and started walking together in groups to keep each other safe. So the gang community started to keep each other safe. And I feel like it's just been manipulated, twisted, and turned so much to where now it's like, oh, you got to be the toughest person. You got to be willing to do this and willing to do that. And that comes from uh, drug organizations. You know what I'm saying? Where, oh man, if somebody goes against the grain, you got to do this and do that. And that's not even, you got the Italian mob, who went by those rules. So it's not like a black culture thing. The black culture thing was created so that way we can protect each other. And then the way
yeah.
that we had to survive was getting involved into drugs, because we weren't being accepted for jobs, and it became hard to survive. We're watching our broken homes, single moms struggle. And so then that's when the drug organizations came into play, and then those rules started to apply. The same thing as the Italian mob. Like, someone tells you gotta, what I'm saying? And that's so embedded in a lot of people. Um, and I'm not saying, I still live by my code, you know what I mean, the stuff that I
Uh-huh.
believe in. But just to
Right.
see and know, doing my research and just looking back and being like, this is why things are the way that they are.
Right.
Not just taking my own perspective on it and being like, oh man, it's just like that. Because no, going and doing some research and looking at the layout, like, oh snap, we were trying to protect ourselves. And then on the second hand, we were just trying to survive. And when it's generational, that means that when the first generation realized, okay, we're not getting jobs, the only way for us to survive is to sell these drugs. And uh, when that becomes the normal in that community, and the child is born, and then they're raised thinking that this is the reality, that there is no other option, and again, that's where that hope falls into place. They're not given any hope. What they see is what they get, and then they're blamed for it. The system was set up in a certain way that made the black culture put them in a survival mode. And then, people talk about gaslighting and stuff like that, and it's on a national level where black people are made to feel like it's their fault, when in reality, all you have to do is look at the system and how it was set up, and it tells you that, holy crap, these people were put in this position. And now they're being blamed. Like, oh, you black people are violent, you black people are this, without even asking why. Why did it turn out like this? And that I just want to give hope to those that are stuck in that. in that mentality where like this is just who we are. I want to give hope to those on the outside, and know that hey man, our people can make it. Our people can come together. We can figure this out. This isn't a forever thing, you know. And I just want to be an example of that. You know,
Yep. That's beautiful, man. And just the aspect of being exposed to something from a young age and then that becoming the norm is enough to change someone's life completely, and so like just that aspect alone, I've talked to many people about that still in their grown up life have issues with dealing with things because of the way that they were or the things they were exposed to as a child, and like just being normalized with violence or this or that, and so like I mean I can't uh I can't imagine like along with the other everything else that we talked about, like it's just people need to realize that. uh Hope. I love that, man. I love that. Can we talk about I want to talk about that march for a second, just because that was when there was like the performance at the steps of the Capitol building and shit like that too, like after the march, or was that a different time?
that was a different time.
A
Yeah,
different time?
yeah.
Okay.
There was, but we brought some Native Americans up there. You know what I'm saying, to represent.
One of the coolest experiences I have ever been a part of in my life.
That was especially at the steps of the Capitol,
Hmm.
because to me what that meant was, you know, this is our land, you know, and we're coming to uh, show you that at the Capitol, you know, and do that
Bro,
on the steps.
they the sage was burning on the up there, and the fucking rain started coming down, and it poured as soon as they started dancing, and that shit burned through
Hmm.
the rain. I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it because it was such a fucking unreal experience. It was.
Yeah, and it was, man, it was the way I would put it. My people, that was gangster, man. That was gangster, because they came up there
Yeah.
and represented for their people, man.
Uh-huh.
It was beautiful, man. It was
Yeah.
especially through the rain, and I think the rain even made it more. It's like the tears from their ancestors came down.
Oh man.
I just view it like, and the way that it just made it so much more bigger. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I mean, it's definitely huge, but it just put the icing on the cake. You know what I mean?
Ugh.
It was beautiful, man.
Yeah, that was so cool. Well, is there anything else you want to leave the people before we get you out of here?
I actually had a question for you, if it's
Yeah.
not too late, man.
No,
So
no, for
we
sure.
just did King of the Mic. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's something I pushed a long time ago, and then took a break from it, and then we came back. Um, you were just a part of the last round that we had. Uh,
I was.
Such a great job, man.
Appreciate it.
And I'm gonna keep it real. If I was one of the judges, man, I'd have voted for you. You know, I'm gonna keep it real because
It hurt because so many people came up to me and said that afterwards, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna get out of here."
and I think what and I can take some responsibility on that by not, but I rely on certain judges to show up, and when they don't show up, it makes it harder. I'm like, oh man, okay, last minute, I got to find some judges. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
And I tried my hardest to find non-biased judges. And not to say that they were biased or anything like that, but just having to pick in that moment is
Oh
really
yeah.
tough. And I feel like your performance just man. So I kind of want to just give my feedback as if I was there. This is what I would have said.
For sure.
I would have said to the winner, Ezo. Shout out to Ezo, man.
Yep.
He did his thing for sure.
Yep.
Uh, but I just feel like with your performance, man, you brought rap into the building. Like you were really rapping, bruh. You rapped your ass off in there. The
I
songs were
yeah.
each song had its own meaning. You brought in different vibes. One song was a like one that you should do at a club. Turn up, everybody turn up, and then the next one, not the right next one, but then later on you would do one about mental health, survival. Like there was just so, and I was like tuned in the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And again, shout out to Ezo. Um, but I felt like he brought more vocals, more singing and stuff like that, which is dope.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning King of the Mic isn't just based off of rap; it's just
Right.
based on the talent that you bring to the microphone.
Yep.
But I can say that I understand the hard work that goes behind being able to rap the way that you did, having to put words together the way that you did, and yeah, man, you killed that show. I'm
I
gonna give
appreciate it.
you know what I mean. So you a winner in my eyes, dog.
I appreciate it. And I mean it took me a couple days to get to be like, all right, it like whatever. It's cool. It's all good. Like, like but
You won, man. You know you won.
it's I mean it is what it is. I kind of chuckled. I don't know if I mean Ezo kind of at the end he had a live video at the end and he's like, I won that shit. And then he just kind of looked for a second. And he's like,
Yeah.
it is what and I was like, all right, bro, I see. But like, so I like he gave me my props a couple times afterwards, and it is what it is. I enjoyed it. I had fun coming out. I really did plan my set um like I put a lot of thought into the song order and the vibes and which songs I picked based on, and I did a lot of shuffling around and stuff. So like I appreciate somebody noticing that shit.
Oh yeah, for sure. Everybody did,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And in the future, there's lessons in it for everybody. You know what I mean? And the lesson I took from that was, hey man, make sure that you get judges that are gonna show up. Shout out to Salvella Native, man. I still got respect for the dude. But I really just wish that the judges that said they were gonna be there were there, and with some consistency. I think
Mm-hmm.
it makes it hard on the artist to see different. I mean, it's different people every performance, but just to know that it's not consistent judging, by the same judges, honest feedback and all that other stuff involved. Um, but like I said, it's a lesson in it for everybody. And mine is just make sure that you have some judges that are going to show up and be consistent. That is very important when it's coming to a competition. You know,
Well, and I mean, good. Like, props to you for holding the competition. I mean, I had a freestyle competition that I held back in the day, and it's tough. It's tough to put something together like that, and for you to do it, like it's dope. You're doing something for. I I joked too because I don't know if I talked to you about it, but I joked. Me and Poverty joked about it, and we're like, oh, we'll get to the final, and then the winner, like we'll just share the money and we'll buy a beat. The three finalists will just buy a beat with the money and then and then we'll shoot the music video together and blah blah blah. And then I didn't even fucking make it to the final, so I kind of put my foot in my mouth. But yeah, we were gonna like that would have been fucking. That's what me and him talked about. But
that'd have been a dope play right there. That'd have been
yeah,
nice.
for sure. No, well, thank you for having me on that thing, though, man. It was cool. I said on Facebook that I probably won't ever do a competition again, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, don't let that get you down, man. Because
Nah.
I got different kinds of competitions coming up, and not even there's one that's it's not really a competition. I used to do the Salem Cipher, man, and I would love to have you on that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to keep it too long, man. But I do want to say, just to everybody out there, that whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're struggling with, just know that nothing bad lasts forever. You can get over it. You just got to fight through it. I don't know if you believe in God, but whatever higher power that you believe in, make sure that you put it in their hands. Don't let it take too much energy from you. Don't let it stress you out too much. And try to be as positive as you can. As hard as that is sometimes, trust me, I get it. And always have hope.
There it is. There it is. All right, man. You know what? I appreciate you so much. Let's get a round of applause one time for you. And I wish you luck in everything you got coming up, man. And we got to make a damn song soon.
Oh yeah, for sure, most definitely.
Yeah. So, all right. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Facebook, Theory 503. I'm gonna go ahead and plug that one because that's where I'm putting my music at. You can find me on YouTube, same thing, Theory 503, Spotify, Theory 503. And that's if you want to get a hold of my music. If you just want to follow me on Facebook, it's Greg Simpson Jr. Greg with two G's at the end. Yeah, man, and let me up. I'll be there.
Cool. There it is, bro. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good rest of your day.
You as well, my guy.
All right, man. Later. There he is. Let's get one more round of applause real quick. All right. That was a great conversation. I love what he said about hope. I love all of that stuff. That was good. If you guys are over on Facebook, make sure you come over to YouTube, hit that sub button, like the stream, like the video. Does a lot for the algorithm. We're gonna do a little bit. Let's see here. 9/24 Wednesday, we have my friend Austin Carl on the podcast. Yeah, it's gonna be a good conversation. Just a good conversation about someone who's gone through a lot lately and just trying to keep their head above water, and I can definitely relate to that. I think we all can. I want to do a little unboxing here. I got a package from the After Dark company. Unfortunately, it was a little too late for our just crumpling the shit out of plastic by the mic. It was a little too late for our raffle giveaway, but at the give back. But I'm gonna open this up. We're gonna show the shirts on here, and I'm gonna save them, and we might give them away on stream. I might give them away at the toy drive in December. But we will be giving them away at some point. But I'm gonna mute my mic real quick while I rip them out of this bag. Okay, let's see here. Shouts out to the After Dark company. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook. Sorry, crumple. All right, the first shirt. We got 4 shirts here. The first shirt. Oh, it's a Vegas shirt. This shit is dope, dude. The After Dark company says, "Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. Born in Nevada." And then at the bottom it says, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." Dope ass artwork. Awesome. That's shirt number 1. Shirt number 2. Shout out again to the homie Dom. Check out the After Dark company online. Bro, I love it. After Dark company, it says spare a pair. He does custom shoes, so check that out. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he does custom Air Forces and stuff, so that's really dope. And then these 2 are the same. They're different sizes. I actually have one of these, and I just wore it the other night. So After Dark company says, "Yo, we up." Says, "You better know." So yeah, just some dope shirts. I'm pretty sure he's got hoodies on there. I think he's booked out for a couple months as far as custom shoes. But if you want something for Christmas, hit him up right now. After Dark company online. That's where you can find that stuff. That's some awesome shit there. So thanks, Dom. Appreciate you. Let's see here. I think that's it. Yeah, we talked about the King of the Mic a little bit. It was tough. It was tough to lose. It's tough to hear that people would, if I was a judge, you would have won. It is what it is. I'm a sore loser, and that's because I care about what I do. It's not to take anything away from the other contestants. The other artists all did their things. Just, much love to everybody that was a part of it. I just wanted to win, man. I wanted to win. That was that. I went into it. That was that expectation thing. I set myself up for failure. I expected to win. I didn't win. Yeah. So I wish I could sing. I wish I could sing. Your boy really wants to sing. I can't do it though. I can't. I smoked cigarettes for too long. And I can't sing. I used to be able to sing. I just can't do it anymore. So, yep. That's about all we got for this evening. I really appreciate all of you guys being here. Like I said, if you're over on YouTube or if you're over on Facebook, if you're on Twitch, go to YouTube, hit that sub button. We just hit 420 subscribers today. And yeah, we're working our way to 500. So if this episode resonated with you at all, please share it with a friend. Everyone needs to hear something. We just might be the place to say it. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more episodes. And remember, it's okay to not be okay. Tell somebody you love them. And we'll see you guys next time.
Before I lay me down, let's get this off my chest first. Excerpt of my life, I call it my next verse. I'm stressed, keep it in perspective. I'm an expert about this Northwest way of life. Hey, it can end.